Hello, can you hear me?
That was Sebastian.
Is that Sebastian?
Yep.
Yeah, that link just wouldn't allow me to log in or anything. Kept telling me to upgrade.
Well, it looks like we're ready to go. I'd like to say good afternoon and welcome to the Moorhead Public Service Commission meeting. Today is Tuesday, September 1st. I'd like to call the meeting to order. First, I'd like to do a roll call so we know who's here. Christine Thompson's in chambers. Mary Daly is going to be absent. Sebastian?
Here?
Heidi Durand?
Here.
Joel Paulson's going to be gone. City Council representatives, Chuck Hendrickson?
Yeah, I'm here.
And is Deb White here too?
Yes, I am. Thanks, Chris.
Sure. And we also have joining us remotely Sharon Klump, who will speak to us later. I'd like to get a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by McDougal, seconded by Duran. Move to approve the agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Pose same sign. The agenda's been approved. Now I'm looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Move approval.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Duran, seconded by McDougal. Move to approve the consent agenda. All in favor, say aye.
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 Pose same sign. The consent agenda has been approved. Customers to be heard. There are no customers to be heard today. Recognitions, anything, Mr. Schmidt?
Nothing at this time.
Okay. Any old business? Seeing nothing, we'll move on to reports. City Council report. Mr. Hendrickson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a couple quick things. We passed a resolution to extend the Make Moorhead Home Property Tax Rebate Program through 2022, which has been pretty popular, and it kind of puts us on a level playing field with Fargo. And we did hear more about the CARES Act, and there's quite a few businesses that have applied for that, so that's good news. And so we're slowly making progress on that. And then, you know, third thing is we're making progress on city manager search. I think the closing date has ended now, and I think we had 49 applicants, so we're going to start sorting through those pretty quick. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Anything you need to add, Deb?
Yeah, just a little bit. I wanted to mention too that the city did receive some CARES Act funding that we will be using to sort of retrofit the community room at the Yemkomst, and they're looking at creating a space that not just that city council, but boards and commissions such as MPS and even other community groups could use when we're ready to start meeting again face to face. It's a place that would be very accessible and also would allow people to spread out and maintain social distance. And so I was asked to bring that forward just to let you know that we're working on making that space available that MPS could use. I know that they will have to coordinate on some technology things, and I'm sure the city manager will be speaking to the general manager about that. But just to know that that space will be available when you're ready to go from having virtual meetings to something where, again, we could meet face to face, but in a safe environment. And then, as my colleague mentioned, we did close the application process for the Moorhead CARES Act funding for businesses and nonprofits, and we had over 200 applications that we received. And I just wanted to mention that I know that our acting general manager Travis was really instrumental in helping to put that program together, that we were able to put together with good work from staff and community members. And so I don't know if he has anything to add, but so far it's been so well received within the community and will bring some good support for our businesses and nonprofits.
Yep. Thank you, Deb White. Yeah, we do have staff actually helping out with the review of those, with that CARES Act funding requests.
Thank you. Public Service Commission, anybody been to any meetings or Hearing none. On to the manager's report. Mr. Schmidt.
Sure. Just a couple items tonight in your packet. We did go over the second quarter strategic plan updates. Those are based on our 5 strategic directions, which were approved in May of 2018. MPS delivers safe, reliable, efficient, and economical utility services. MPS is strategic and financially strong. MPS has qualified and competent staff and a strong staff culture. MPS is a regional leader in utility services and sought after for leadership and advice. And the final one is MPS is innovative. And then under those items, we got a bunch of bullet points and tasks where we've had some updates throughout the second quarter, providing you guys information on what's going on with that. We also do have some quarterly dashboards included with this, and it looks at the electric division, water division, GIS, and then the finance side of it as well too. So it provides just information on what's been going on during the second quarter as well. The one other main item is there is a piece of information from Western Area Power Administration. It's the value of hydropower in the dynamic energy frontier. I saw this, I thought it was a good article, and I wanted to provide it to you guys just for a little bit of information and education on that as well too. The final item we would talk about tonight is we've been doing usually monthly updates based on the finances due to COVID-19 that's been going on. So I'm going to have Mark Moylan come up. This is as of the end of July, so he'll be addressing that, and then we'll be bringing an additional item of how August has looked because of the COVID financial situation. So I'll let Mark take it from here.
Mark Moylan, Controller. Appears this is on. Yeah, as Travis indicated, the report is as of July 30th, so it's not exactly timely. It is information that's about a month old, but we are still continuing to monitor consumption, residential consumption, small service consumption, industrial, et cetera, for both electric and water. As expected, we noticed that residential consumption for both electric and water was up considerably over last year, as was apartment usage for water. Commercial and industrial is down a little bit. It's making progress over the last couple of months. From a collection standpoint, we still are about 16% of all accounts past due at least 1 month. But the dollar amounts continue to rise because we do have quite a few accounts that haven't been paid since we've ceased discontinuing disconnections. I ran a quick report this afternoon and noticed that we have about 1,300 accounts that are past due at least 2 monthly bills or more. And so it's a concern, and we're trying to address it. Over the last month or so, we have continued sending out our automated courtesy reminder calls to encourage customers to make payments on their past due accounts. We aren't stressing any kind of disconnections though, because at this time we don't have a plan as to when that might start. Another thing that we do have available to us, we received some information last week from some contacts from the city of Moorhead and our local Lakes and Prairie Community Action Center that there is now some COVID-19 housing assistance available. So if people are behind on their bill and it's related strictly to COVID causes, they may be eligible to receive some grant funds. And it's again being handled through the local Lakes and Prairies Community Action Partnership Office. You can also contact the state, it looks like, at 211unitedway.org to get additional information, as well as by dialing 211, which gets a contact to a toll-free number down in the cities. It looks like the numbers are available from Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. So again, if you're having issues with rent payments, it looks like mortgage payments, utility payments, and other things, you might be eligible to receive some funds if it's due to COVID. And that's really where I have. As Travis indicated, we'll have another updated report through August at next meeting.
Yeah, and
So, any
yeah,
questions?
we also have the abilities to send out an automated message through our phone
Correct.
system as well to those accounts that we noticed are past due, to give them that information as well. So that is something, we can consider as well if that's, interested by the commission.
I think that would be a great idea. The more venues we can get that information out, I think the better. If we can post it on the website, put it in the, somehow put it in the envelopes that go out for each bill cycle. And then, yeah, if you can automate it to phone calls, that would be great. If we could send it out those 3 ways, that would be wonderful.
Okay, we can work on that.
Okay, yeah, as long as we have your permission. Again, we calculated it'd be about 1,300 accounts that are at least 2 months past due that we would target these calls to. This would be a non-standard collection call, but as long as I have your approval and you think this is something we should do, we could get those out within the next week. Putting in the statements might not be as timely because it'll take up to 30 days to get it out on each statement, but at least sending out these phone calls, we could hit everybody within the first 7 to 10 days.
So that's
I
great.
certainly agree. You have my approval.
Oh, agreed. What level of threshold is this going to be more of a concern of? I mean, right now we're at, what, 16%, you said? I mean, where do we need to get to a little bit more of an understanding on how to wrangle this in, if you will?
Well, the 16% is all those that are past due at least 1 month, and it has been pretty much consistent since December of last year. The issue we're coming across is that some balances within that 16% have grown. So before, a customer would have to pay, or else there was a threat of disconnection, which would prompt payment. Now, without that threat of disconnection, account balances continue to grow. So as to your question, what's the threshold? I think it would probably be ideal to just go anybody who's got a bill, 3 months past due or so, at least direct them here to see if they may qualify. Again, it's not an automatic that they'll qualify. They will have to meet some criteria, but it is some funding that is available out there.
Well, I think any option we can direct people towards would be great.
What's the magic number? You said 3 months past due. Is there a reason why we're not going up to 2 or?
Could go to it. It's usually the 1,300 has been pretty consistent. 12 to 13 have been, that's that 15%,
Sure.
16%. So we just pick that.
Oh, okay.
I don't think it matters on the amount of, or the number of past due accounts. It's all there. It seems to be pretty consistent, so we're going to hit anybody that's got a past due account.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't think it matters how many months they've been past due at all.
Any other questions for Mark?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
this is Chuck. I just want to echo what Heidi said. I think, and just to reiterate that, yeah, we should do everything possible to get the word out to all those delinquent accounts, because right now it's COVID's rising again in North Dakota, Minnesota, and they need the water, they need electricity. So I just echo. I just want to make sure we understand that it is almost a dire situation with COVID right now. So yeah, any way we can get out to those customers would be great.
Speaking of that, it's kind of ironic. I got an email from Oliver, my youngest. He's a 4-year-old. He goes to preschool at MSUM. And we just got an email that one of the teachers tested positive for COVID. So my little guy is home he's got a quarantine for 2 weeks. And this is 2 weeks into the school year.
Yep.
So it'll be interesting to see how the elementary schools and the high schools fare when they open.
Absolutely. No other questions? Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.
Okay, does that conclude your manager's report?
Yep. Yes,
Great,
that is everything.
thank you. Accept report on update to general manager internal recruitment and selection process.
Sure.
Mr. Schmidt.
So just a quick, brief, I guess, providing of Sharon Klump from Baker Tilly has been assisting us with the internal recruitment process. From here, I'm going to let Sharon go ahead and speak, and then if there's any additional questions, Jerry Borman, our accounting HR coordinator, will also assist with any questions. So from here, Sharon, if you're ready and available, please go ahead and start speaking.
Okay, well, thank you. I hope everyone hears me okay.
Yep.
I just wanted to sort of give an overview of the work that has been done and what the next step in the process would be. So you are familiar with the fact that in July we were retained to assist with an internal search. The position was posted internally and we received one resume. As that was occurring, we worked to talk with each member of the commission, as well as some 4 department heads at the city whose names we were given. And so that perspective from the commissioners and the city became our position analysis. We were asked if the job description needed to be updated, and we really didn't find anything that needed to be updated on the basis of the position analysis. And I should comment that that information was shared with the 2 members of the commission who have been functioning as HR liaisons. We talked about that. I also presented them with some interview questions, and those interview questions were really reflective of both the position analysis and some of the things that you have in your job description. So we didn't have any other questions that came forward. So then the next piece of this process, as defined in our work plan, was to conduct and record a Zoom interview with the candidate, and then to provide a link to that video interview so members of the commission would be able to review that information. We also presented the candidate's resume, the position analysis, job description, interview questions, and the results of a leadership management assessment that all of the members of the commission could see. And we asked that the recorded interview be reviewed individually and that any discussion occur at this meeting. So hopefully you have had a chance to review those items. And I think before moving on to discuss the next steps, it's appropriate for me to just see if there are any questions that anybody has in terms of the process, questions that came from the interview, anything of that nature. And I'm not hearing any questions, which perhaps means that the process has gone smoothly and you received the information that you needed in the process. Yes.
Yes, I do have one question. Is there any of this, I know as a non-voting member, we didn't receive it. Will any of it be available for the public?
That's a good question. I have been working with Brandon Fitzsimmons on information on what is determined to be public data and what is not. A lot of the materials, such as the resume, the interview, those are private materials. The position analysis and the job description are public. And so if there are any questions in terms of what's there from the voting members, at that point then I can tell you, who the candidate is and what the next steps would be. So I hope that answers your question, Councilmember White. Thank you.
Sebastian or Heidi, any questions?
Nope, I don't have any.
And as we indicated in the memo that we provided for your meeting, the next step in this process would be to begin employment discussions with our candidate. Our candidate is the interim general manager, Mr. Schmidt, and would be working with Brandon Fitzsimmons to have an employment agreement that would come back to the commission. And I said September 14th, but I'm thinking it's probably September 15th on that. But the idea is that we would have information ready for you to actually make an appointment.
Any questions about next steps?
And this,
None here.
No,
This
that
would be-
that timeline sounds good to me.
this might be a good place for a motion to authorize Baker Tilly to begin employment discussions and work with the attorney to prepare an employment agreement. And then your final consideration of that would be at your next meeting. I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page, and I think a motion probably does that.
Somebody going to make a motion?
That motion?
You're going to move that?
Second.
Okay, so Heidi Duran moved that motion that was stated by Sharon. Is that correct, Heidi?
That is correct.
It was seconded by Sebastian McDougall. All in discussion. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, then we've authorized Baker Tilly to commence employment discussions with Mr. Schmidt.
Excellent. We will do that. We will continue to report back. Our two HR liaisons are the chair and Commissioner Daly. So we'll be reaching out to them and just having that continual coordination as we did through the process. It's been a pleasure to work with everybody, and hope to have this information available for you for your next agenda.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much. Take care now. Bye-bye.
Moving on to our next item.
Chris, you want to accept the report?
Okay. All right. Technically, we need to accept the report. So I need a motion to do that.
So moved.
I'll second it. I have a motion by McDougall, seconded by Thompson. Move to accept the report on update to general manager, internal recruitment and selection process. Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. We've accepted the report. Okay, moving on to item number E, Bright Energy Solutions. Mr. Schmidt.
Sure. Just a quick update here. In front of you, you have the Bright Energy Solutions Power Team Energy Wise program. I'm going to have Dennis Eisenbrown, our Energy Services Manager, come down and speak to this. This is an annual item that we do to help educate in the schools, and I'll let Dennis speak more to the program.
Good afternoon. Dennis Eisenbrown, Energy Services Manager. This program we do in conjunction with Missouri River Energy Services. They provide the program, and we partner with them to bring this to the targeted group. And the targeted group are all fifth graders in Moorhead, whether they're in public or private schools. And we've had all the schools combine or participate in different years, but this last year it was just the public schools that participated. But it was great turnout. The teachers loved it, and all the people that participated and the families, there was probably a greater than 80% approval rating of the program. There's a curriculum, there's handout materials, there's programming materials for the teacher. The students take equipment and products home, and they, it's kind of an education for energy efficiency. And it's been very well received, and it's been a great program. And I just see this continuing on. You do have the, the executive report. If you want to see the whole report, this is the size of it. It's about 40 pages. But but the executive report does do a pretty good job of summarizing it, so.
Thank you for this program, Dennis. I know as having had 2 fifth graders go through the program, I really appreciated the night lights and the light bulbs.
And magnets.
Yeah, well, those were nice, but the best thing I think were those night lights. I think we still have a bag of them
Okay.
in our closet, and we go through those quite regularly.
All right, well, glad to hear that feedback. Thank you, Heidi.
So Dennis, what's the plan for 2021?
We're going to continue this program, and we've already, excuse me, contacted the Moorhead school system, and they're on board. And I forget the person that we were supposed to contact with. I should know that, but it's a new person this year, so I don't remember the name. But we did contact Brandon Lunak initially, and he connected us with this person, and so they're on board, and they're in process of getting student counts and that sort of thing, and then kits will get sent out.
Great.
How are, with the COVID and potentially having hybrid or other education options, how are we going to approach that and be able to get them the information and teach them how we do this?
You know, that is something that's handled strictly between Missouri River and then Franklin Energy, who is a consultant to Missouri River. They're really the ones that work with the schools in the program. We actually don't have any personal interaction with them.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
First I wanted to say, I also think this is such a great program, and I wanted to mention, when I was in 5th grade back in 1970-something, we did something similar in upstate New York, and it really just, I still remember so many of the things I learned at that, and it was something that kind of put me on track to make more green efforts, and I've continued that throughout my life. So I think this is a wonderful program, very impactful. I would like to ask if we could do anything to recognize the teachers. And so when we do this, do we ever bring the teachers into a meeting and recognize them, or is there anything to recognize any of the kids? I'd love to see us doing things to sort of elevate this in the community and people hear more about it.
Yeah, we haven't done that specifically, but in this 40-page report, there are letters from all the students that come in. They're actually highlighted in this book, as well as comments from some of the teachers. So they are published, shall we say. But we haven't directly reached out to them. But that's certainly something we can consider. So
I'd love to see us do something like that.
okay.
I could use my connections with the school, and maybe we can
Okay.
connect up with, I'll talk to you later about who to talk to
Right,
about
right.
celebrating this.
Okay, excellent. Thank you.
Any further questions for Dennis? Comments? Okay, I'm looking for a motion to accept the report on Bright Energy Solutions.
I'll move that approval.
Thank you.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Durand and seconded by McDougall to accept the report on Bright Energy Solutions Power Team Energy Wise program. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, the report's been accepted. Regional electric rates.
Sure. Again, I'll have Dennis speak to this, but Dennis, on an annual basis, provides a regional electric rates report, and he does a really good job of putting all the information together to understand how we sit with our rates regionally. Again, this does help with our Moody's rating. It's we want to keep our rates competitive, and that's one of the criteria that is part of the Moody's rating. So Dennis, I'll let you go ahead and you can speak to it. Looks like we're in a good spot. We're competitive. We're not the lowest, but we're something we can work on.
Okay. Again, Dennis Eisenbrown, Energy Services Manager. We are, as Travis said, our rates are fairly competitive. When you look at the large customers, the grocery stores, the large factories, the difference between us and the regional utilities is almost statistically insignificant. So we're very, very close. where there's a greater disparity is between what residential customers pay compared to other utilities and what small businesses pay compared to small utilities in the area. The one thing the way that I approach this is that I look at this as a total cost comparison. If you compare our rates with the rates of a neighboring utility, if you look at just the rates that are published, their per kilowatt hour is much less than ours. And you go, well, how do they do that? But then when you look at their bills, they have on there what are called rate riders. You have an environmental adjustment clause, you have a fuel adjustment clause, all these sorts of things. Now all of a sudden, their rate becomes much more closer to ours. So when I make this analysis, what I do is I look at, if you were going to use this much energy in our utility and this much energy, that same amount in the adjoining utility, what would be your bill for that month? And that's what these numbers reflect. It's what you would actually pay per month for that much energy. And like for the residential customers, the difference between us and the lowest one is about 8% difference. And between us and the next lowest one for a small commercial is about 10%. And those are the two greatest varieties, or the ones that have the greatest variation. The large commercial, those are less than 3%. So those are pretty close. But the other ones, you know, we need to try to see if we can close that gap a little bit if possible. If I were to say, if there was a place that we could, look at to work on, I would look at those rates for residential and small commercial. But we're still second in every category. We're not, out of the four or five, we're not the top one in any category at all. We're the second from the bottom in every category.
I think it'd be interesting to see how, over time versus the other major utilities, how that would graph out. Where you have a line graph with our rates versus the rates of XL and XL Minnesota, and just to see where there's been a shift and how big that gap has become or shrunk.
Yeah, I think we do have had prepared something like
Yeah,
that before.
I
So.
think, yeah.
Yeah, somewhere before, I thought I remember seeing that.
Yeah, I'd like to see that too. And then if we could see maybe a few ideas. I know, Dennis, you said, you target small businesses and residential rates. But if we could maybe look at more specifically what we could do to try to become more competitive or maybe be number one. And in doing that, what would we have to do? And being honest, I mean, if it means looking at the transfer rate or looking at other transfers, what would we really have to do to be number one instead of less than that?
It's a good question, Heidi. Yeah, we can go back and look at that, and we can probably visit with the ad hoc budget committee as well too this year and talk through that and probably bring some more information back to the group. Along with that, I think we need to, I think on the electric side, I think we're in pretty good shape for the next few years. Really the biggest issue or biggest concern we got is purchase power, and if that goes up.
Okay.
That's really a major impact to our overall budget and the overall rate increases that we have.
Yeah.
Depending on if the other utilities have rate increases, that helps us as well too. So if we can continue to keep our rates, low and not having any rate increases on the electric side, I think that is also going to be a benefit to the overall plan.
Travis, I should know this, but when does the transfer agreement end? Or when is that up for renegotiation?
I think we got 2 more years. I think it's 2 more years.
Yeah, Chuck, do you remember? I think
Yeah.
that sounds about right.
Yeah, Travis and Heidi, yeah, it's 2 years. I remember 2 years ago, just renegotiated it, so.
Yeah, I think it's end of 2022, if I remember right.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question. Who's on the ad hoc budget committee?
It'd be Commissioner McDougal and Commissioner Paulson.
Okay. And Travis, excuse me, Madam Chair, I just want to ask one more question, if that's okay.
Yeah.
You know, the purchasing power, has there been any type of forecast for that, Travis? Have you seen anything coming down the pike? Is it going to be less or more?
We're not seeing anything right now from WAPA, and I think we talked about it at our last meeting, with their drought adder. That stays pretty consistent, but if they're having drought issues out along the Missouri River, they could add a drought adder back in, and that would, again, cause our rates to go up. From the Missouri River side of things as well, right now, we're probably good until after 2023 or around 2023.
Okay.
They're not seeing any rate increases. Again, that's all dependent on their operations, and if purchase power costs go up, they might have to increase their costs. If, they are purchasing off the market, so if that does go up, that's going to impact our overall rates as well, too, sooner rather than later.
No, just good work on that. I mean, the rates have been pretty stable in Moorhead, so, I appreciate that and appreciate the work you've done on that, so thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Dennis.
Yeah,
Thank you, Dennis.
thanks.
Okay, I'm in the position to accept the report on regional electric rates.
I'll make the motion.
Oh, go ahead, Sebastian.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay, motion by McDougal, seconded by Duran to accept the report on regional electric rates. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Okay, we've accepted the report, moving on. There's no closed meeting for executive session. Note that our next Public Service Commission meeting is September 15th and October 6th if needed. I entertain a motion to adjourn.
Madam Chair?
Yes?
Just as a reminder, there is the Red Rock Hydroelectric project dedication. There is a virtual dedication ceremony. That's tomorrow afternoon at 2 p.m. I have provided that out to all the commissioners. If there's anybody else interested in attending that, we can get that out as well, too. We might actually post it on Facebook as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay,
Seconded.
meeting's adjourned.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.